Are you thinking about forming an LLC? That's fantastic. And I honestly think that most people can form an LLC themselves without using an attorney. It's really actually a simple process. You would go to the Secretary of the State and the state in which you want to form the entity. Now, that decision can sometimes be guided by an attorney because there are pros and cons in picking a state in which to form the LLC. And you don't just get to form it anywhere too. If you're going to operate in a certain state, even if you form it in another state, you still have to apply for a certificate to do business in the state in which the company operates. So that's a little tricky too. But essentially, you just got to figure out, is this going to be member managed or manager managed? So member managed, I like to think about it as more like a traditional partnership where each member is a partner in the business and they're all actively involved in the business and they all vote on all decisions in the business, essentially. Manager managed would be more like a corporation where you have a president that is hired by the board of directors to make a lot of the operational decisions. Not all of the operational decisions, but more the day-to-day. And in that instance, that would be the manager. The manager would be like the CEO of the LLC. And the board of directors would be the managers. And the members would make the biggest of the big decisions of the LLC, as if you're going to sell the LLC or something that would require member approval as opposed to just manager. So once you figure out whether it's member managed or manager managed, and you understand what a registered agent is and whether you want to use an outside company as your registered agent or serve as your own registered agent. And let me just tell you about this real quick, because I've seen clients make mistakes on this. For a registered agent, all it does is serve as the designated rep to accept service of process if there's a lawsuit. It's like a mail house. If you're going to sue a company, one of the ways you can sue a company is by serving the designated registered agent, and then service is deemed effective. So this big mistake that we had to undo for a client is he was serving as his own registered agent, which is typically fine. Think about it. Oh, what? Check the mail? Like, that's complicated. Problem is, he was staying at an office that was more like, one of these co-working spaces, and he designated himself and the address of that office as where the registered agent is. And then he moved offices to some other co-working space or something. And of course, forgot to update the address for the registered agent. So the other side was actually able to serve him well enough to get default judgment, almost $500,000 against him. And then he didn't even know about it for a while until they started post-judgment collection proceedings, and he hired us to undo it. Fortunately, we were able to undo the default judgment for him, but still cost a lot to undo that as opposed to just doing it right to begin with. So we have a registered agent, member managed versus manager managed. We're going to pick our name, blah, blah, blah. Pretty easy. There you go. Form the entity. You'll get certificate of formation, it's called sometimes, or an articles of organization, it's called sometimes. It's essentially the birth certificate of the LLC. Then you just need to get an EIN, an employer ID number. It's like your social security number for you, but it's the social security number for the company. You can get that for free from the IRS website. Don't go by any like junky spam mail or that you get saying, oh, we'll help you get your EIN. It's easy. Your accountant can do it, your lawyer can do it, you can definitely do it. You just get the employer ID number. That will allow you to open the bank account for the LLC. So I went over the easy stuff. The easy stuff's forming the LLC and then getting the EIN. The not easy stuff is the operating agreement. Texas, we call it the company agreement. And I say it's not easy because it's not just a form. If you pull a form, that's what you're going to get. And any form isn't going to be tailored to protect one member or the other or account for some of the complicated scenarios that can and often do arise with a limited liability company. So your partnership agreement, operating agreement, has three main areas that need to be addressed. And I have long video going through operating agreements in these sections that you should think about. You can check it out on the website. I like to think about it as a three-legged stool. I'm not going to go into detail, but essentially ownership and control, 2 is transfer restrictions, and 3 is restrictive covenants. And operating agreement is not a cookie cutter document. It is a document that time and money should be spent going through those 3 major categories of things. It's all in stuff, subparts, and other little things. You're going to look on spending thousands of dollars. I'm not going to go over an exact amount now, but it's not going to be $500 and it's not going to be $1,000. That's for darn sure, because it's going to take time. It's going to take money, and it's a good investment. If there's multiple members in the company, for sure, I would say it's absolute requirement, and it cannot be a form pulled online, because I have seen, and I have a video on this, litigation where the parties spent a lot more fighting over bad operating agreement, no operating agreement, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the point I'll stress. But that's the other core document of an LLC. So you got to form it, you got to get your EIN number, and we need the contract to govern the members within it. Those are your 4 documents for an LLC.